to be here with you. Today, we are going to go live with a conversation that we're going to have with Shermain Melton. He's Shermain, someone who inspires me on a regular basis. He's a go-to person in my life to not just have conversations, but he challenges me. He's someone who understands courage. And in addition to courage, he understands a lot of like the lived experience of leaders right now. And so, like, whenever I talk to Shermain, I know that great things happen. When we got into the 10,000 minute live game, I'll explain more about that in a bit. Shermain was one of the people I knew I wanted to bring on and have some conversation with. So let me bring him into the conversation right now. Shermain, it is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to have you in space with me here. I'm gonna put on my headphones so we don't get any reverb or anything coming back at us. But thanks for saying yes to this here.
You're welcome, Niiamah. Thanks for inviting me, man. It's always good to be with you and around you and in your presence. So thank you.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. Like I was saying earlier, that we have the 10,000 minutes. We call it 10K live. All right. And so I have a game that I'm playing that's 10,000 minutes before the end of the year. I have to actually like up my game in the game because I realize like I'm not anywhere near near that right now, but like 700 some minutes. I'm like, there's a lot more to get to 10,000. And I'm actually I'm in this place where it's like it's gonna be easy to be like, it's not gonna happen. Let me get it ready for next month. Another part of me is like, no. I'm like, this is it. Like, let's figure out how we can get there in a couple months, in a couple weeks, right? And so I initially sent you a message, man, because the thing about this 10,000 minutes game is that like it's so much time, right? In such a short period of time that like I no longer had room to try and perfect. I'm like, I just got to get the minutes. Like every day that goes by is, I don't know, 24 times however many minutes that ends up being, right? 24 times 60. So I reached out to you because I was like, part of this was like, I need to play more. And I also realized that like, while I like to talk, there's something, I don't know, inherently boring, I guess, about talking to myself, and like, and so I was like, let me go reach out to people. And I had a one day, like a spur of the thing. I was like, who can I reach out to? I was like, oh, I definitely know who. It changed from who can I reach out to who do I want to talk to, right?
Yeah.
And Shermain, you came in. And so we're playing off of that. I'm still working on some things behind the scenes to make everything happen. But I do want to just say, like, out of everyone in my world, like, you're one of the first people who came to mind. And I'm really glad you said yes.
Thanks, Niiamah. I appreciate the invitation. I know that anytime we interact, anytime I spend time with you, I'm going to leave excited. I'm going to leave changed. And I don't know how we're going to play, but I'm here for it. I'm here for
it. Man, I don't know either. Like, this is I honestly said, like, Niiamah Shang and Shermain Melton are jamming in real time. And I feel like for right now, like that's one of the major keys that's here. So in a bit, I'm going to have you introduce yourself to any outliers who are watching both live or in the future, and we'll kind of pick up from there. But why don't we do that, Shermain? Why don't you introduce yourself? I've shared a little bit about who you are to me. I might share more as it goes along, but why don't you let outliers know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Yeah, thank you, Niiamah. So my name is Shermain Melton, Outliers. I'm glad to be here with you. I am on a mission to end loneliness for 9 billion people. I'm on an impossible mission. And it feels really good to be on that mission of ending loneliness. I'm writing a book titled The Loneliness of the African American Leader. And this book is for accomplished African American men who know the struggles of leading in a white world. And so I'm happy to be here. Niiamah, my tiny book, I want to have it written here in 3 weeks by the end of the year. And so you and I have some different challenges that we're trying to knock out. So yeah.
Well, this is like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, outliers know outliers. Like we like, Shermain, I didn't know that it was getting done by the end of the year. But it makes sense to like kindred spirits, right? In many different ways, right?
Yep.
In many different ways. And there's things that you do that parallel where I'm at, and things that I'm at where you're like, oh, I've been there, I've done that. Like, here goes how I'm thinking. And one of the things y'all should know about Shermain is that Shermain is someone who does not hold back in challenging thinking. He has I don't know what you call it, like the Melton moment, or like the Shermain, like he'll just come out and be like, this is what I need you to know. This is what I think you should know. So we'll see how that plays along. I'm curious. So what's coming online for me as we're in space is really that element of less about like the challenge of the time frame of like writing a tiny book in the next 3 weeks and me with a 10,000 minutes live. But what really grasped me was that was when you said like I'm on a mission to end loneliness for 9 billion people, right? And what grasped me about that was like Shermain, we've been so aligned in so many different things, and Outlier's Edge is the core reason this exists is because of belonging. Like where I'm used to being an outsider, being in the 3% club. So when you talk about the African American male, like African American leader, like I'm like, I get it, I know it, and I know that there's the specifics in there. But what grasped me, what called me here, was the fact that like you led with it, and I think that there's something real for me right now as we're talking, where everything you're seeing right now, all the technical things, whether we use Restream or we use Zoom or we go on and we're having a 10,000 minutes live or writing a tiny book, like all those things to me only matter if it has the heart in it, right? If you know what you're about. And I feel like this would be a really great opportunity to talk about that, because there's a part of me that like that for myself, I get what I'm about, but the flag isn't fully in the ground. And of course, I've only done things for Outliers for years, but there's still a nuance of this where I think it's a difference between yes, you can go and loneliness, and the other thing being like, and I'm getting it done this year. Like we're writing this book so that like all of next year this is out in the world. So I'd love to talk to you about like the difference between like knowing that you have something to offer, seeing that it's there, telling other people, because it's not the first time I've heard about this year. And now you're like actually writing the book. You're researching, you're doing all this, and now it's all coming out. So I'd love to jam with you a little bit on that. Would that work for you, Shermain?
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds perfect. Yeah.
So let me check in with you first. Like, where was the transition for you? Like, where was the transition between, okay, yeah, this is what I do, and I'm telling people this, and I'm bringing it in. Like, I see you acting on this in a way that you weren't, like, I didn't feel like you were acting on it beforehand. I feel it was always present, but then you're like, I'm doing this program that was not this, and now you're like, oh, I'm actually doing the thing. So tell me about that transition.
That's a great question, Niiamah. Let me see if, as I think back, like it's been a journey. What I really hear you asking is, Shermain, when did you actually own it? When did you say, you know what, this is mine? When did you put your flag in the ground and say, you know what, this is my mission. This is my mission that I'm going to take. And that moment came 2 months ago. So October, I ran an event, in my first international live event in Toronto, Canada. It was a 3-day event. And day 3 was what is your impossible? It was like Impossible Mission Day is what I titled it. And that was led by a colleague of mine named Chris Frolick. And Chris, I think you may know Chris as well. And Chris has this impossible mission framework, and he took me through his framework. And there was a moment during that time when he said, Shermain, he said, why does this matter? Why does loneliness matter? Like, what was the moment where it started to matter for you? And then I had to sit there and think about it. And I recalled this moment in high school where I was in 9th grade, math class, algebra class. I was in class, and my friend Dan would he sat behind me. And so Dan came in on this Monday morning, and I, turned around and I said, hey, good morning, or, whatever it is. Hey, man. And I could tell something was off in Dan. And I didn't know what it was. And he sat down and he said, dude, my mom committed suicide this weekend. And he said, you know what? I'm thinking about doing the same thing. And it was that moment, Niiamah, where I was speechless. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to comfort him. I was lost. But it was that moment where I grasped the depth of loneliness and in my own life. So that was my first experience of the ultimate effect of loneliness. And so it was that moment where I said, where it was kind of that seed of where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this on. I want to do something about it. In addition, for me being one of 7 siblings, so growing up in a large family and feeling lonely in the midst of the crowd, and so it was that moment that was the origin. But at the event that I put on, he helped me. Chris helped me draw out that story, and it was that moment where I was like, yes, like this is it. So yeah.
All right, so let's play with this a little bit here. Thanks, man. Thanks for bringing it in.
You're welcome.
That's real. Like it's good to. I'm glad you're connected to it. All right. It's what's playing out as you're saying this too is a question for me here that lies in. Here goes the question I have for you. The question I have is this. So I've known you for years now. All right. I've known you for years now, and you've been on the component of ending loneliness across the world from like, the 9 billion people for a good, like, I would say probably at least 2 years right now. It's been something that's been there. Would you say?
Well, I would say the 9 billion bit that came 3 months ago.
Okay, that came through.
that's
I
all
will
brand
say,
new.
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, yes, I don't remember him saying 9
Yeah.
billion, but ending loneliness has always has been there for like.
I would say at least a year. I would say that's been there for at least a year. It's always been. I would say it's always been on the surface. But to me, actually starting to own it and then saying I'm going to write this book, it's been about a year to 2 years.
Okay, so I want to dive in a little bit because I feel like it's like I want to know what is the impact of let's pull this out. I want to know like the impact of like Chris pulling that out of you being able to like go back and reconnect with that and how that changed the actions you were taking. And Shermaine, like the distinction that I'm looking at right now is like it's been a year. And you're writing the book right now. You were in a research phase of inviting people for conversations around this, right? And what I was seeing happen externally in the world, right, were like different projects that you were taking on, different programs that you were making, different things that might have tied to courage, which I've known you to be about, and that's something that's another thing where people like they've known you to be one way, now you're switching into something else, right? So I'm saying this as someone who's been on the journey with you here, where I'm like, okay, I've known this has been present, this has been here. Like I know that you're about this. You've been taking aligned action in it, right? But it like at least in talking to you today, I'm like, oh, he decided to jump. Like he was hanging out on the cliffs of loneliness. He was doing he was having conversations as it made sense. You were making the progress, but now you're like, I'm getting this book done in 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, he's here, y'all. He's here. He's this is happening. So that's that point right there. That's what I'm really trying to pinpoint in there. As someone who is like, I'm here for Outliers, but then I might go talk to entrepreneurs overall or leaders overall. And on my end, the reason that this is so significant is I'm like, oh, what does it mean to like know that you're on a mission, to know that there's something drawing you forward, but to be on the cliff, on the edge of jumping rather than having jumped over, and that to me, when I'm meeting you right now, we're talking about ownership and so on and so forth. There's a level that just feels different. It feels different. And you let me know if maybe it isn't different. Maybe you're like, hey, no, this is still like, I'm on the same page, but like, you let me know there. What would you say is behind that?
Yeah. What's behind? That's a great question. So as I'm thinking right now, I'm trying to process what you just asked. So it's that moment before the jump. Right. So
I feel like you are, to me, it's like, oh, he's aligning everything behind us now, rather than this being a side project that could be done. And that to me is like, I'm like, what changed?
Yeah. Here's what changed. I finally realized that my life, loneliness has been a part of my entire life. my entire life, being Black in America, being a man in America, being gay, being Christian, like all these levels of loneliness have been a part of my life. And I realized that it caused me, feeling lonely caused me to show up different ways and in different spaces. And in ways where I was not owning my power. And so I finally, Niiamah, I finally got to a place where with that event I was telling you about in Toronto, where I finally started to own it and to realize that I'm owning this. This is gonna be a part of, this is my mission, and everything I create from here forward is going to connect to that mission of ending loneliness by creating spaces and places where people can belong and feel seen and valued and like they matter. And so it was a realization moment that this is it, and I know this topic deeply. And so I felt like I knew this topic deeply. Hell, that's how I changed. When I was 20 years old, I became a general manager of a Pizza Hut restaurant, 40 employees, $1 million restaurant, and that store needed to be turned over. Creating belonging and connection and humanity is how I turned that store around. And so, Niiamah, there was a realization moment that loneliness, I've been solving for loneliness all my life. So I know it deeply, and I've been solving for it. I've been doing this. And so it felt right. It felt connected. It felt aligned. And yeah, it just felt like me to own this lane.
All right, let's do a couple things. One, we're coming up on the half hour, so we had 30 minutes on the calendar. If you need to jump, go jump.
I'm
I want to
good.
make sure
Yep.
you're all right. I want to make sure I don't get in the way of this book
Got
getting
you.
written
No,
and putting out there. All right, like I'm getting my minutes. You
Yeah.
gotta, you know, if you want though. This is the way I would play is to any extent in that this conversation you want to use any of this here, like I'll give you the transcripts of it. Like I'm all about 100% of what I do is like gets transcripted, gets put into things, we repurpose it, all that stuff there. So
Awesome.
just know that we're gonna keep building on it.
Cool.
So I'm gonna be like a dog with this one, right? Dog with a bone on this. I'm looking for, I'm hearing what you're saying and it feels good, right? And I still don't feel the difference between like the last 6 months of you and the last 3 months or whatever it is, right? And because I think that's my thing. I'm like I know that everything you're saying is so true to me, right? Everything you're saying is so true to me, and it would be easy to sit on the sideline. It would be easy to I guess what I'm saying is that while everything you're saying to me makes sense. Mm-hmm. It also felt like it was present, months back when you're like, hey man, I'm launching this group program and I'm doing this thing, right? And so that was there already. And I don't want to we don't have to just keep hammering in on it right away, but I'm gonna keep pointing to it. I'll ask a different question right now. And know that I'm asking because I'm tired of playing, I'm tired of being I play the game. I want to play it at an all-star level, but I can only really figure out the minor league level. And it's oh yeah, it's because you're still also trying to be in minor leagues on 2 or 3 different games or 2 or 3 different sports, rather than saying I'm going all-star in the one. So
Hey, Niiamah, that's the thing. So that's what shifted for me.
Yeah.
Instead of, you were speaking about courage before, that, I'm still about courage. That's still my jam. But I put loneliness it's now at the top. It's now at the forefront. It is now the foundation of everything I do. Now that requires courage to create things, to help, to create events and experiences where people can be a little less lonely. That requires courage. But I moved courage off the mountain and I put loneliness there to solve loneliness. And for me, because it was such a big part of my life, and because I know a lot of people struggle with that, it felt more aligned for me to do that. And there was more energy there when I put that as the priority, when I made that.
All right, cool. So we're gonna play with that then, right? Yeah. Here goes. I'm gonna be selfish in this conversation. You good with that?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm like, oh, he's going for it. All right, if that's the case, and
let's do it. Yeah.
let's keep playing with it. So here goes a question that I've been wrestling with myself. Like, you can answer it. You like, I'll put the question out here. You can answer directly. You can do your Shermain thing and toss it back at me in some way. However we do it, we jam. So right now, I feel like I've been doing outliers and things related to outliers for something like 7-8 years now, right? There've been something related to that since 2018, right? And when I was in it originally, I think it was very much like from the pure coaching, like who you are being, like it was 100% being focused and so forth, right? And then realistically, like the business just wasn't thriving, right? And I think that happened for two reasons. One, like I do one-on-one work, but I'm not like, I don't see myself as a one-on-one coach. I think there's something inherently, I'm curious how you think, especially with loneliness. Part of the reason why I talk to outliers is because I'm like, they're rarely seen, celebrated, and valued for who they are, right? And the reason I have this is so that they can go out in the world and be like, hey, let's go bring this, and you all are going to lead something new, right? And let's make sure you can like do it in a sustainable way. So there's something that feels inherently at odds to do this outlier, like to play this game with outliers and still do it on a one-on-one basis. To still be like, oh, I see that you're an outlier and it's okay that you're an outlier with me. The world may not get it yet, but go out into the world, right? There's some kind of disconnect where like on a meta level, unless it's done together or visibly or whatever, like I'm actually still perpetuating the outlier, one of the outlier challenges or problems. Does that make sense, by the way?
No, can you say that in a different way?
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is that like let's just tie it to loneliness, right? Right, because I think that there's a loneliness that's involved with being outliers, and I'm working on my path to addressing it, right? And the for me is if I was trying to take on loneliness and I having one-on-one conversations, right? Then like I don't think I'm actually hitting on like addressing the loneliness part. There's one more person that you can talk to, but like there's something about in my range of solutions, it will be different than yours. In my range of solutions, where like, oh, if I'm trying to get on loneliness, like then we should be bringing people together. Like it's not that they just have access to me, because I don't have the space for every single person in the world. But if I can get them if I can get them with each other, that's something. And so I guess where I'm coming at is like it's almost like a philosophical element of this all for me. And then there's like a practical element as well. And I think that as time has gone on, I've kind of like been trying to figure out where do I put my foot in with like the philosophical, everyone's an outlier. Let me help you own your outlier. Let me help you bring out your brilliance out into the world and own what makes you unique in a unique way, right? One way. Or like, okay, you're a business owner. And being a business owner has outlier elements. And let's go talk about how do you build a business in alignment with you. It's almost like you're here to do the loneliness for 9 billion people, but you're also starting with or talking to African-American leaders first, you know? And so like that juxtaposition, I've been struggling with. I've been struggling with a lot. And like, I'm curious how you're taking it now that I see that you're playing the game so fully. I'm like, all right, so how, like, what do you do with this? Does this make sense? Like, and when I say doesn't make sense, is like not just cognitively. Like, have you had to wrestle with this?
I have. So one of the things I'm hearing you're speaking about is impact, and specifically for me, as it relates to loneliness and my mission is to help one person at a time to be a little less lonely.
I'm having like I can feel my inside. It's like roiling. It's like boiling right now. Like, all right, help me. Let's see. What I'm like, I was going to say, help me get good with this. And the partner's like, do you want to be good with this? Right. Let's so show me here, because I wouldn't first say thank you. Thank you for letting me have an internal response. Because not everything in the world like is I don't allow most things to. Most things don't hit at that level. Right. So there's something that happened there. Tell us a little bit more about your mission. One person a little bit. And I guess like there's an element of this where I'm like, yeah, tell me more about it. Tell me more about it first.
Here's let's see, what do I want to say? Here's what I found about myself, Niiamah. When I focus on some huge number, my energy goes down.
Mm.
Oh, I want to help 10 billion people, whatever, then my energy goes down. But I noticed that if I say, you know what, what's the tiniest thing I can do? You know what? I'm going to serve one person today. I want to help one person be a little less lonely today. If I focus on that internally, I have more energy. There's more oomph there if I'm only focusing on one person.
Okay.
Now, what you may or may not see, I'm writing this book. Obviously, this book is going to help more than one person, but this book, I'm writing this for one person, and knowing knowing that it's going to help many more. But my only goal, my only intention is to help one person feel a little less lonely. And I'm trusting that the impact is going to happen if I keep that mindset, that thinking going.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. There's a couple different things. And for anyone that's watching this, either not live with us in real time or watching the replay of this or listening to this at some point, like there's I want to ask you here, because we have these conversations as a dynamic conversation. It's not just me and Shermaine in this space. It's all of us. We're just the conduits of it. Almost to your point here, right, Shermaine? Like, I'm having this conversation with you, and at the same time, we're all it's being done on behalf of or with everyone else, right? But like, as long as it's meaningful for me and you, I trust that it's going to be meaningful for anyone else. So my ask here, y'all, as you're listening to this, is, hey, just like in real time, just like throw in, we could be one word, two words, whatever it is, throw in any real like insights you have or things that stick up for you. Just go ahead and toss that into the chat and in the comments. And I'm curious for you, one of the things I heard, Shermaine, was that you realize what gives you energy and what is taken away. And so for any of you that are watching this here, like, put into the comments, let us know, continue the conversation, share with us, like, what have you found to be the conditions that bring you energy when it comes to bringing your impact, your mission out to life, and what are conditions that take away from it. I think that, like, I really enjoyed that part there. Shermaine, you got something to say? I got some more on what you just said, but let's see what you got to say.